fantasies breathe, and nothing is too taboo. We don't do small talk here. We get real, we get raw, and we get unapologetically explicit about sex, relationships, identity, and all the messy, magnetic moments in between. This is where lifestyle meets real life. The stories are bold, the opinions are unfiltered, and your confessions, they're safe with us. Mostly. Well, anyway, I'm your host, Just Jay, and your guide through the unspoken, the untamed. And tonight we are diving headfirst into the truth that rarely gets moaned out loud: health, safety, and we pretend we too grown to talk about, but better start owning. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the cast I have. They got the heart, they got the heat, and they got the stories that you cannot beat. Up first, we got Style Free, people. He is a walking mic drop, zero filter, infinite depth. Style Free is in the building. What's up, Style Free?
What's up, y'all? Happy to be here. It's your boy Style Free back at it again. Y'all can check me out, author, poet. I seen Style Free on IG. Mess with us.
See what I'm saying? I feel that right there. What I really felt was my boy Memphis. Y'all didn't hear Memphis giving him some love in the background. You know what I mean? I felt that. And now Kiki, I know you know what I'm saying. You as lady and stuff, you hyping him up all the time or whatever. But I appreciate that, Memphis. I appreciate the love. So y'all see Memphis holding it down like a bull he is, steady, sharp, always ready to call a room
Clean.
out and shake the table. Memphis is here. Memphis, what you got to say?
Hey, it's your boy Memphis. Follow me on the Real Incognito merch dropping soon. That's it. Pass it on.
Right. Last but never least, it's the queen of living out loud, breaking the rules, telling y'all about yourselves. Kiki Kelis is on the mic. Kiki.
Hey, babies. It's the host with the most, Kiki Kelis, the real Kiki Kelis, the queen of whole wellness, happy orgasms, and enlightenment.
All
Hey,
right.
beautiful souls.
I like all those things. All right, yo, fellas, I saw the love. I heard that it was a cacophony, but I felt it in the heart. We're gonna work on it. We'll practice in pre-production. We're gonna get it together. You know what I'm saying? But I felt the effort was there. That was deep. So y'all know me. I'm just Jay. I ask the questions that make you clutch your pearls. Maybe pull them a little tighter. Maybe push them in a little deeper. Whatever your particular twist is. But before we go any deeper tonight, let's hit the pulse of the people, because while the headlines are always screaming scandal, the LS streets are whispering something real. So this is a segment we pull back the curtain and tap into what folks are actually saying in the playrooms, the group chats, and the parties. Unfiltered, unapologetic. So let's get to it. So the LS streets are saying, they talking lots of stuff. Kiki, what are the LS streets saying?
What ain't they saying? Because the streets stay hot. The tea stay sipping hot. But I heard there's some uncleanliness in the streets.
Mm. Can you
There's been some
elaborate?
cats that been a little tart.
Mm.
That's what I heard. That's what was in the streets this week. There was a
Okay.
play party, and the cat was funky.
Oh, oh, okay. Well, please
And
do
I'm
a
saying
wrap.
it exactly how I read it. The cat was funky.
Mm. Not to be confused with like a George Clinton funk. This is a different funk. This is this.
Yeah, that pussy funk hit a little different.
Okay. This ain't dog funk. This was
No,
okay. I see the difference now. Thank you for clearing that up. Y'all in the
right.
DF, y'all clear it up. Listen, Kiki, do a rapid up review, ma'am, so we know where not to go, or at least to go. You know what I'm saying? Be prepared. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going by what the streets say. Because I went in the building because this cat is fresh. So I'm going to put that out there. It wasn't about this pussy. It was
Mm.
about some other pussy.
You say it's fresh enough. You could have made everybody else smell good. I see what you're saying there, girl. I'm with
Yeah.
that.
You know,
Sprinkle.
it's all love.
All love. Memphis, what is LS Street saying?
Man, I don't even remember exactly. It was something along the lines of transactional interactions
Mm.
where people was having to pay or along those lines. So it was about transactional sex. And so,
That's
but
awesome. I love
I
transaction
ain't
sex.
100% on how it goes. You know what I mean? The streets told me
Yeah.
I wasn't listening wholeheartedly, so I'm giving y'all half of what the streets told me.
So we're going to do the episode on that because I'm curious. Is it transactional? Is that transactional for feelings? Is that transactional for funds? You know what I'm saying? Is that transactional for transportation? Like, you
I
know what I'm
like
saying?
that. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good question. A
But
good topic.
So
but I
Good
saw
topic.
transactional for if a woman says she wanted to have a gangbang. I
okay.
saw where she's tried to charge $20 per person. It's like, why would I pay for that? I saw
For the
transactional.
gangbang?
I saw transactional where the woman wants to be picked up, brought to the spot with the liquor, with alcohol, with drugs, and she wants you to bring the people. I saw many variations of transactional. I saw how we were saying like last episode where like my stuff is worth this much,
Mm.
so you need to pay this much. Like
Oh.
I
Well,
saw
that's how to
different
compensate from a little dick. If your dick is little, you should pay.
No, no, ma'am. There are laws.
Oh,
There are
I'm wrong.
laws
That's
that
shallow.
say
Does that make
we
me
don't have
shallow?
to
I'm
pay.
sorry.
No, I'm
I
saying I
don't
don't
even
mean we
think in terms
like
of I
me.
need to pay for this.
Okay. I know it said
Well,
we. I
like
don't mean.
Justin said, a transaction could be energy, could be money. We'll talk about the next episode, but I like this.
Yeah. Circle back.
Oh yeah, we definitely going to circle back. All right, style free. Before we get too lost in the sauce, what are the LS streets saying, sir?
Man, I've been hearing the LS streets talk about real LS versus LS-ish or LS adjacent or dirty vanilla. You know what I mean? A lot of
Mm.
real lifestyle people are starting to kind of get a little offended or a little irritated by people that's like halfway in the game just coming to watch. And it was just a real big discussion going on in the streets about that.
You know, I'm not gonna name a club, but I know there's a certain club that on every third Thursday they have like newbie night or whatever, which somehow seems to coincide with the Black Night. And it seems like it's not you're not even going to a club, you're going to like a zoo. It's you know, people are going, there are more spectators, more people looking and pointing and watching than there are people actually engaging or meeting people, a lot of standing around, kind of whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I don't and
yeah.
I
I
wrestle with that.
understand the issue.
I wrestle with that though because I understand being timid in a new environment. So I do understand like the standing around and looking because you know you're trying to get in where you fit in and you don't want to, you know, make the wrong move or get in over your head. I get that.
Fill it out.
Right, you want to fill it out. But then there's a balance, you know, between that and just straight up voyeurism for the sake of having something to tell and talk about, you know, and
Gossip.
yeah, and
That's what it feel like.
I don't know how you properly vet to weed those people out yet. I haven't figured it out. When I do, I'm gonna throw some more fire events. But until I do, then we're gonna be dealing with the
That's what
same
they were talking
problems.
about a lot about that, about the discreetness and that the new people tell they only there for spectators to go tell other people business.
That's what I'm thinking because that's what you know. When you don't have any skin in the game, why not? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, for my part, you know what I mean. When I hear what the LS Streets are saying, the LS Streets are saying that some of y'all out here are more afraid of test results than rejection. They saying that you're more scared of health disclosures and hard limits. So let's talk about that tonight, if y'all don't mind. Now,
Oh, we
to
get
talk,
real spicy tonight.
oh, we're gonna mix it up tonight because I brought out the big guns,
Sprinkle.
right? I brought out the big guns. I've got Robert Johnson here, who, as the founder and CEO of Shameless Care, is turning sexual wellness into a safe, private, and judgment-free experience. So exactly what this community deserves, right? So y'all, we're gonna dig in with Robert. We're gonna talk about these things, get his perspective because he's an OG in the game. And afterwards, we've got some guests coming on. We've got Young Riz 215. He's a dominant pansexual male. He's outspoken about his trust, his truth, and vetting the LS culture. We've got a pansexual couple coming on.
Oh,
China and will be on.
oh wow.
Yeah, so
That,
we got
that took me by surprise. Damn, we gonna get hot
we
tonight.
we gonna make it hot and spicy tonight. You know what I
Woo!
mean? It's gonna be real, real good. But before we get to all of that, or as on our way to all of that, let's go ahead and chop it up with Robert here so we can learn some things. Um, so I got to speak on something personally. All right. I actually had the chance to try the shamelessly aroused cream. All right. Like I didn't, I guess I did try it. So then let me explain what I mean. So there's this cream, right? The shamelesscare.com sells, and it's like Viagra for women, right? And but so what you do is you squirt like little pea sizes and you put them like wherever you want the sensitivity to be. The clit. You know what I'm saying, a little around the lips a little bit. I didn't really put any inside, but I feel like my applicator that I applied might have gotten some in there in the process. So I don't know. The directions were unclear about that part. But anyway,
But is it safe to go on the inside?
oh yeah, it's got to be because I was all up in there.
No.
Yeah, yeah, it's got to be. It got and I don't know if I was supposed to tell you this, but it doesn't taste like strawberries. I don't know if they're working on the flavor or not, but yeah, it does not taste like strawberries. If y'all do to do strawberry flavor, I just want a little kickback, or I'll be your spokesperson. We'll talk about that later after the show. But anyway, I wasn't sure what to expect. But what happened next was immediate warmth, some real results, and let's just say, okay, we fell asleep. Okay, and we woke up the next day. And so the next day was when we actually were like, oh, ooh, it's this, it's percolating, popping. A little TMI, my wife and I are polar opposites, which is why we're so powerful and also very explosive at times. And so I'm a morning person. You know what I'm saying? Morning, I'm ready to go. She's a night person. So for us to have a great morning with repeat performances, I think speaks volumes for what we were able to do and how the shameless arousal cream really went for us. So salute to y'all for that. That's just my, what I'm saying, my story. Get it for yourselves. Go to shamelesscare.com. Use the product code Kinky, Kinkey, and you can probably get yourself a nice discount, and then you'll be thanking me later, sooner rather than later. So with that being said, let's bring them on to the forefront. You can just tell us about yourself, Robert, and we'll start firing these questions off.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you like the cream. Actually, on Friday, we changed the formulation. Now it has mint oil in it for the very reason that you talked about, for the taste issue.
Oh, you can blow on it now.
Yeah, I
So you
wasn't
can
blowing
blow
it.
on it like
Yeah, I wasn't blowing, but
menthol.
yes, you could do that. Yes, that too. That's it. Oh, Kiki,
Yeah.
give
So
me our
my
tips.
story is
Tell
I've
us
been
how
in
the
life.
cream work.
What was
I'm
your
sorry,
question for Robert?
there's a little bit of a delay there. I apologize. Can you say that again?
Are you about to tell us how the cream work?
I absolutely can. Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mixture of 3 different medications. The one that is the prescription medication is sildenafil, which is the active ingredient in Viagra. And essentially, the doctor has to be prescribed by a physician, which we have a team of at shamelesscare.com. And then it's compounded at a pharmacy. And if people aren't familiar with compound pharmacies, that's essentially where you take several different medications and mix them together. You come up with a custom formulation, and that's what Shamelessly Aroused is. And then you rub it on the vulva and the clitoral hood and things like that about 15 to 30 minutes before sex. And it does a few different things for a lot of women. And one of them is it increases blood flow. So, the arousal starts in the brain, but a lot of times, especially as we get older, blood flow isn't as good downstairs as it used to be. I know that's true for us guys, and it's also true for ladies as well. And so that's what this cream ultimately does, is it increases blood flow. It helps with engorgement. The feedback we get a lot of times is it helps with wetness, not because the cream itself is a lubricant, but just because it's increasing blood flow and things like that. And for a lot of women, it helps their ability to orgasm. So it doesn't work for every woman, certainly, but it can help a lot of women who would just like a little bit of an edge, downstairs. So it's a really cool product, and we're glad to be offering it.
When you say it helps with engorgement, are you saying it pumps the clit up like a pump?
I'm saying that when you're aroused, Kiki, blood is flowing to that area, and the whole area kind of engorges with blood, fills up with blood, and around the clitoris and the vulva and that sort of thing. And so this kind of helps makes that just a little bit better. Some of the very same things that happens to men happens to women when they're sexually aroused as well. It's just not quite as obvious when you're looking at it.
I'm familiar, especially for women that have big clits. We're familiar.
Yeah.
That clit get hard.
Right.
That sounds like a whole different segment. Okay, Memphis, you had a question.
Do I do like one little scoop on my finger, or do I use 2 fingers worth and rub it around? Like, what's the proper amount to be rubbing it around?
That's a good question.
A pea-size amount is what the medication directions say, and it is a prescription medication, so everybody has to be careful with it. Okay. But yeah, it's a pea-size amount.
Dr. Robert, I have a question. Is there an age?
The internet kind of broke up there a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, cut out for a second.
Is there like an age demographic for it, where for the safety law you can use it like forever?
I would say that any age woman who desires it, as long as the medication is safe for her and the doctors figure that out, can use it. I would say our average, client of that medication is probably premenopausal or menopausal. So
Don't
I would
say
say,
that word.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm glad to
Okay.
hear that because I've been studying that, and I think that'd be an awesome marketing strategy to come from because premenopause has got very popular. A lot of women are getting didn't know about it, so it's a real big thing right now. I think that is awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
We need the pussies to keep working. Just because we can have babies, the pussies still need to be useful.
We couldn't agree with you more. I think every man on the panel agrees with you,
Yes.
Kiki, and yeah, endorses that.
Get that.
We we stand behind that. So, Robert, let me ask you, what inspired you to launch Shameless Care, and what gap were you trying to fill in like the sexual wellness landscape?
Oh, well, this is a personal story, but I don't mind sharing it. So, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I had a woman text me and tell me that I had given her gonorrhea. And I was pretty surprised by that for a couple of reasons. One was I felt absolutely fine. The other one was I had just gotten an STI test, and I'm looking at this STI test result, and it says gonorrhea, negative. And so I showed that to her, and she said, "Well, have you ever been throat swab tested?" And I had never even heard of that before. I mean, and I had been getting STI tested every 6 months for like 10 plus years, something like that. I really thought of myself as like this, not an expert. I didn't have a company at that time, but I felt like I was pretty smart about it. And I had never even heard of throat swab testing. And then I had to go to 3 different doctors until one of them knew what a throat swab
Oh,
test was for gonorrhea. Finally, one of them swabbed my throat. A couple of days later, I get a message from the doctor saying, "Yeah, you have an oral gonorrhea infection." And, I had to go in and get a shot. It just really kind of, pissed me off, to tell you the truth, because, I thought I was doing the right thing. And then to find out that despite that, I had this STI, which I would have had anyway. The testing wouldn't have stopped that, but it would have stopped me from spreading it to other people. And so, I've been in playrooms and lifestyle and stuff, and almost everybody has unprotected sex. I don't even think that's just limited to the lifestyle. I think that's people in general. Almost everybody has unprotected oral
mm.
sex. And so, to tell people to get tested and then to not have them tested for the infections they're most likely to have just really kind of irritated me. And so that's why we started this company. And so now we have a team of physicians, and we do STI testing, but we also do, medications and things like that as well. And we just try to, educate people as much as we can, and do things like, coming on awesome podcasts like this.
All right, now do want to ask you about your process and what it's like for a person to like, for who is interested in care to go through and contact Shameless. But before I get to that, I want to touch on the story that you gave, because I can attest that I think when I've seen people at play parties, the oral sex is almost a handshake. You know what I mean? In some places, it's considered the safe approach. It's a soft swap. You know what I mean? You just do oral with another person, and a lot of people aren't carrying around their, the dental dams and the other things the contraceptives that they have for oral sex for whatever reason. And a lot of people aren't giving oral sex with condoms on, or asking for oral sex with a condom on. So there is that thing that could be, and I don't even, there's I even know that oral throat gonorrhea was a thing before you told me. And so
That
I
is
just,
lack of knowledge
yeah,
for
and
everybody.
I can't imagine what's happening in the community given our current practices and the depth, the dearth, I should say, the absence of knowledge that we have in terms of what can really be passed around and going on in the community right now. So that's very, very serious.
I think we got to
Um,
bring dental down back too, man.
We just
We got to
purchased
make
some. We
that a
didn't get to
thing
use
again.
them.
we can get people to carry
Yeah, we
condoms.
bought some because we thought about that same thing. How you go out to these parties and you just putting your mouth on people's genitals. So, and I remember when I was younger though, when I first started learning about protective sex, I would just go to the clinic to get free condoms. They would have the dental dams there, and I would always get me some dental dams, and they had different flavors. You know what I mean? So, it bring a little new taste to the vagina, right? I make that cool again, man. Do. Does Shameless offer dental dams? Is that something y'all can
We
order?
don't know. And to tell you the truth, I've never seen one. I mean, people,
Really?
yeah, I've
For
never
real?
seen one. I guess the parties I go to and stuff, like, people just don't use them. And honestly, like, obviously dental dams are a good idea, but at the same time, you can make sex so safe that nobody wants to have it anymore. Right. So like,
Man.
if
Right.
people want to have
They like
unsafe
being on the
oral
edge.
sex, I think that's perfectly fine. My suggestion would just be that when you do go to get STI tested, whatever sort of schedule you're on for that, that you go ahead and get the throat swab so you know what's going on there.
So
Yeah.
you think people care less about their mouth than their genitals?
I think most
Yeah,
people
my
think,
thing was like,
yeah,
if you care more about a person using a condom to put them inside your vagina and less about them putting in your mouth.
I think that's where most people are. Yeah, I think that's fair to say, just based upon the people that I've hung out with in the past and what I've seen. I think people are really concerned about HIV, and they kind of get the idea that that condom, you know, when you're having sex with someone, you know, penis to vaginal sex, that's going to protect them from HIV, and everything else they kind of think of as curable. And I'm guessing what, people I don't even know think. So that's always a little bit dangerous. But I think people are a little bit not so worried about oral sex, which again, I think is a personal decision. I just want people to know about this throat swab issue.
So maybe
Yeah.
kind of in part to that, but also as a branch off, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about STI testing in privacy?
Good question.
Oh, I think the biggest issue is that people put a lot of power in this phrase STI testing or full panel or I was STI tested. The truth is you could go to 10 different doctors you could go to Atlanta, wherever city you're in across the country, you could go to 10 different doctors and you would get 10 slightly different STI panels. So there would be 10,
Oh,
slightly different sets of diseases. So when you walk into the doctor's office and you ask to be tested for everything, or you ask for a full panel, and that doctor's on their laptop ordering tests, there's no single button in that electronic health record where you're ordering, click full panel. That doctor has to think about in their mind all the STIs that you could test this person for, and then find them on the screen and click them, oral, gonorrhea, chlamydia, okay, syphilis.
why don't they just simplify that?
That's a
It
good
should be
question.
easy to just
They need to.
simplify. Why make it so complicated?
Yeah, that's a good question, Kiki. I really do wish that there was just a standard, panel that if every doctor even just knew about throat swabs, I would have never started the business. So yeah, I think that's the
Thank
ultimate thing,
God.
Kiki, is just trying to make sure that physicians have a little bit more training and knowledge about this, for sure. I could not agree with you more.
Do you find it different do you think that Shameless Care has to approach LS, poly, queer, black, brown communities differently than mainstream platforms, or do you think the message is the same across the board?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, the problem that we have is that our physicians do not accept insurance. And so we end up with this really great panel that's also not inexpensive, right? Because it's 15 different assays and then it's being mailed to the person's home. And so, if you think about communities, let's just think about like people's finances for a minute, right? When I was 25 years old, there's no way I could have afforded a Shameless Care panel. It's just too expensive.
Mm.
But I started the company to be like, okay, I think there's a problem with STI testing. I want to try to build what I think is the perfect panel and kind of throw that out into the world. One of the things that we're really proud of is we have a web page on our website that helps people get that panel essentially for free if they have insurance. And I completely get that not everybody has insurance either. But I don't want people to think that, you either have to pay $300 to us or just get whatever shitty testing your doctor comes up with when you ask them to test you for everything. So we have a web page on our website where, we encourage people to do a screenshot of the test that we recommend so that you can take that in the doctor's office and say, no, I'd really like to have these because that's only going to help. We also have a video from a physician that you can show to your physician in the exam room if your doctor's looking at you and saying the same thing that my doctor said to me, which is, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about a throat swab test for gonorrhea. I don't know what that is. And it's basically a 60-second video where the doctor says, hi, I'm Dr. Store, OBGYN. Here, I'm going to walk you through this. Again, this is a doctor talking to a doctor. and in 60 seconds explains how to do it. It says it's the orange Aptima swab. You already have it in your exam room. It's the same one used for strep throat. You swab the throat in the same way. You code it in the computer this way. You send it off to the lab, and that's that. So we're trying to meet people where they are, but with the understanding that we don't get any tax money. So we're not, free. And we also don't accept insurance for a variety of reasons I won't get into. So it ends up being not an inexpensive panel, but we didn't want to also have like less expensive and less comprehensive panels, because that defeats the whole point of having the company to begin with.
Exactly. I love it. But people are willing to pay for discreetness as well. So I like that it ships to the house. So
yes, it's shipped to the house. Yeah, it is. It's discreet, but not in the way that people think. So it is every interaction at shamelesscare.com begins and ends with a physician. So like Kiki, if you were to order an STI test at shamelesscare.com, you would be assigned a board certified physician that's licensed in your state.
Oh, I love it.
That physician reviews your medical information that you provide, obviously, and then decides if you're a good candidate for the testing or not. 9 times out of 10, you would be a good candidate for the testing. The only reason you wouldn't, Kiki, is if, like you said, you were already having symptoms or something like that, in which case an at-home test is just not appropriate, because by the time the test even got to you, you might be in serious trouble. But anyway, if assuming the test is appropriate, then, we ship the testing materials out to you. You do the specimen collection. So that's blood and urine and an anal swab and a throat swab. You mail it back to the lab. A few days later, you get the test results. The test results are interpreted by the physician. And if somebody tests positive for something like a mycoplasma genitalium or trichomonas or something else that's relatively easy to treat, then the doctor automatically sends an electronic prescription to the pharmacy that you chose as your preferred pharmacy when you ordered the test to begin with. So that's kind of how the process works as far as testing goes.
I do think though that knowing you're dealing with someone who's at least familiar with the LS community and alternative lifestyles, whatever, would make some conversations that may be awkward with a primary care physician a little less awkward. Sometimes your family doctor you've been going to for 20 years since you were a little boy on Pop Warner football team or doing little league baseball, you don't want to tell them you just came from a gangbang last night and you know what I mean? Maybe you forgot to slip a condom on in the last round. You know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think there is an element there that I think cannot be understated. A level of comfort that although it's not a selling point for the company, I personally think it definitely provides some value. I got 2 questions for you, Robert, and I want to ask them both. So I really didn't know which one to go. I'll just pick one. All right. So what's your take on why STI stigma is so deeply embedded in communities that promote sexual freedom? Like, what my question isn't why are STIs so prevalent or so deeply embedded. Not to say that they are, not to catch any aspersions, but why is the stigma so deeply embedded in the community that promotes sexual freedom?
That's a really interesting question. I really don't know. I know that for me personally, when I got gonorrhea, I always dreaded that might happen. And then when it happened, I got a shot in the butt and I was cured, and it just wasn't a big deal. Cause like I've had strep throat, who knows, 20 times, maybe something like that. And if you think about it, it's the same thing. I had a bacterial infection that I caught from someone else, and then it was cured. And so I think for me personally, there was this dread of like, what'll happen if I get an STI? And then when I got one, I was like, well, that was no big deal whatsoever.
Yeah.
But
I love you.
It's this weird thing going on in society now, and especially on the internet, where people have never had more sexual freedom. And then you read people on Instagram and stuff talking about body counts and, if this woman's had more than 5 sexual partners, then you can't wife her up. And like all this, I don't know what's going on in society where I feel like we're going in 2 different directions.
It's dualities.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's definitely coming to a head. Definitely coming to a head. You guys,
Everything comes to a head, just Jay.
you know what? You being nasty, and I'm gonna try to go on and finish this question I'm asking. All right. So To the cast, you guys, why do you think the STI stigma is so deeply embedded in our community? Like it's supposed to be sexual freedom. Why do you think that the stigma with that is what it is?
Because it's just human nature. Oh, go ahead. Excuse
I,
me,
I
Memphis. Go
think
ahead.
Oh,
well, I was just thinking that the ignorance is bliss. I think a lot of people don't know. But then if they realize, like what Robert said, that it's a lot of them. You don't got the major ones, and even a lot of the major ones they have care for it. I mean, so
so I think if I can understand,
it's best to know.
yeah, I think if I understand what Stoffy was saying that that the stigma is just maybe enough people haven't said they've gone through it, and people don't know the path through it. So they hear about getting it and the life after it. How do you move in these circles? That part is probably what people are wrestling with. Maybe
Then
maybe
they
don't
turn
kind of
to shame instead of being shameless. They turn to shame.
yeah. Facts. Memphis, what you got any thoughts on this? Or you want to push into the next question?
Oh man, the only thing I was thinking was I want to say Style Free was saying it. I don't think people really paying attention to like STIs and certain exams or whatnot, or why they not as concerned about oral health as like condom prevention or whatnot, is because of it's just ignorant to the fact of that's a thing. Like he said it today, and I can imagine that it's 140-year-olds who've never heard about a throat swab. You know what I mean?
Or even know that you can contract things in their mouth. A lot of people think that you only can get diseases vaginally.
Yeah.
It's
Like I've
lack
never
of
had
knowledge.
a throat swab, so it's no telling what's in my throat. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Look,
You
I'm
know
not gonna
what?
I'm not gonna
Y'all
hold you.
being real transparent tonight. I love it.
I was watching everybody as Robert was telling his story, and I watched everybody, almost everybody, at some point in time, like kind of hold their throat, like, "Oh wow, I hadn't thought about that."
I wasn't expecting that much. I wasn't expecting that much transparency, so I wasn't expecting you to say that. So he said, like, "Damn, he bold." But I love you. I want to tell you that I appreciate your transparency and honesty and how it drove you to purpose.
Well,
So from pain and all the things that occurred with it, but it drove you to purpose, and he created Shameless. So it good came out of it.
when I first got a chance to talk with Robert, we had a talk, and he was really transparent. It was a great conversation, and I knew I wanted to have him on the show because I learned a lot just from that first conversation, and you brought the same kind of energy today. So definitely appreciate that. Um, let's see. All right, so let's switch it up a little bit. Maybe. Well, let me get one more really deep question in, and that is what routines. And I'll start with Robert. We'll go around. What routines or practices would you suggest that anybody in the LS community take on or take up for their health and well being?
Would you like to start with me, Jay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I think that, let's just focusing on STIs for a minute. I feel like people are going to have to do the work of learning a little bit more about STIs. And because if you're not going to think about STIs in terms of like, oh, this panel or I got tested, no matter where you're getting tested, local county health department, Planned Parenthood, a local, gay health center, whatever it is, or Shameless Care, whatever it is, I said that there's no such thing as a full panel. There's a lot of variety. And so people are going to have to do the work of like learning about the STIs and thinking about them like individual infections. So if you take an infection like Mycoplasma genitalium, which is really quite common, it can damage your health. Most people have never heard of that. And so
I'm like, what's the street name? I'm about to say, doctor, what's the street name for that? Because I've never heard of that.
Well, first of all, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to get sued. We have doctors on the team, but I'm not a doctor myself.
Pardon me, Robert, but
some people call it MGen. I've heard it called MGen before. It's this little bacteria. It actually wasn't discovered until the 1980s or so. It's so small that it was difficult to detect it. But it just kind of sits in your reproductive system and kind of quietly damages the tissue. It can pretty dramatically increase your likelihood of getting HIV, for example, because anytime you have something that's damaging your your tissue down there, and then you are exposed to something like an HIV, it's more likely that you'll contract HIV. I'm often hesitant to talk about symptoms because more often than not, it doesn't have any symptoms. So people always want to know symptoms, and I'm hesitant to be like, well, it can mimic a UTI, et cetera, because I feel like they might just wait for that moment when really they should just get tested for it anyway, particularly if they have insurance. It's not going to cost them any more. But my point is, like, you just don't have the luxury of walking into a place and saying, get me an STI test. You instead have to spend some time learning about these things so that you can walk in there and say, I want a mycoplasma genitalium test. I want a trichomonas test. I want, and kind of go through the list and know what you're talking about. And that does require a little bit of work. Likewise, if two people are meeting at a party and instead of one of them saying, well, I was STI tested 2 weeks ago, and the other one saying, well, great, I was STI tested a week ago. The truth is neither one of them know what they were tested for, but they feel like they're having this complete conversation and they're just not. So I feel like talking about it in terms of individual infections is just smarter, but that does take a little bit of kind of study and not a terrible amount, but it does take a little bit of study to kind of get comfortable with those. I can tell you guys, I was in this business for about 6 months before I could spell syphilis. So it does take a little bit of time to figure these things out.
Well, it's one of those words you hope you never have to spell. So I get it. I completely understand.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to wind this down.
I have a quick question for you guys. Maybe y'all know. Why did it change from STDs to STI? I mean, what was the change? Didn't it used to be called STDs, right?
Yeah, because it used to be sexually transmitted diseases, and disease was a little harsh. It's a little harsh. We live in a very PC world. We don't want to hurt anybody with our words. Don't want to make them feel bad. So we don't want to call these diseases because that sounds icky. We're going to call these infections because infections can be treated. They don't carry the same stigma, social stigma that a disease does. Like, leprosy is disease. So you got a disease, you know what I mean? But you got an infection. You're going to take some medicine, get it cleared up, get back on your feet, back on your grind. That's what I would say. Robert, what would you say?
I agree. It was just a woke kind of term. Me personally, I don't particularly understand it. I mean, I think if your feelings are going to be hurt by the term STD, but not STI, then maybe you're not cut out for casual sex.
Right.
But I'm a 45-year-old man. Maybe if I was 25, I'd feel different about it. I don't know.
Oh, you being your feelings. Yeah.
Hey, I had one question too. If y'all don't mind, I wanted to ask you, Rob, because you mentioned an anal swab. And honestly, that was my first time hearing. I just heard a mouth swab. I've never heard of an anal swab neither. Could it be diseases in the anal? Is it you got to get the anal tested for it?
Yes, gonorrhea and chlamydia are site-specific bacterial infections. So you have to be tested in every area that you might have it. So what we tell people is if you never have any anal sexual contact, or if you just don't want to stick what looks like a Q-tip up your ass when you're testing yourself.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah, then you can just leave that out. But we didn't want to make a test kit where, you could add that on for an extra fee because we felt like that might be discriminatory against people who do have anal sex. So we instead just have one panel. It comes with an anal swab, but if you don't want to use the anal swab, just toss it in the trash and mail the rest back.
That was so kind of y'all to think about the asshole, Robert.
They're very thorough. They're very, very thorough. And so, some people are freaky. So wherever else you might be sticking those things, people, ears, whatever you're doing there, swab that. Swab
the ear swab.
Yep, ear swab. Wherever you're putting it, you swab that up and make sure it's clear.
Yes, sir.
All right. So here's my question for you guys. Full panel. Now, I'll ask the question anyway. I crafted this question before I knew Robert was going to share a story. So anyway, here's the thing. Would you hook up with someone who tested positive and told you up front? And everybody has to answer, no passes. Don't all jump in there at one time. Y'all know Robert already shared his story. He's like, once you get cleared up, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, but I'm going to let Robert tell he got here for himself. All right, who's going first?
Wait, say the question again.
So here's the question.
The question, right? The question.
You at a play party, okay? You see somebody that looks good, right? They look good. And y'all chatting it up, in a little break. And they're like, yo, I tested positive for blank. But, I got to clear it up.
Was it 10 years ago or last week?
I don't know. Tell me how the time makes a difference to
That's
you.
a good question.
So give me both. Tell me why how I tested positive 10 years ago, what your response is, and how you respond is if it's I tested positive last week, but I took my medicine and I'm okay. Like the idea is
Well, I'll go
they
first.
tested.
First, I would question your intelligence. Because why did you tell me about something 10 years ago right now?
Mm, mm,
I'm just
mm.
saying me. I would be like, if you trying to get, if you don't want this pussy, just say that. Because why the fuck are we talking about something 10 years ago?
Yeah.
So
That
Now
was
you
that's
easy
me.
and funny though, but yeah.
okay, but you know that
But
implies
I love transparent people. But for me, probably be a hard no because I already did. I be like, what?
but
You know. But if it was
yeah,
last week, I appreciate your transparency. But it depends on my history. I don't have no feelings towards you, and it's 100 other dicks in this room, so I can just move on to somebody that's okay. That's just me.
okay.
Or
All right.
pussies or whatever I'm doing that night. I would just move on.
So if somebody told you they tested positive up front, you would choose to pass at that point
Yeah, it depends. At a play party, yeah.
at
That
a
what she
play
said.
party.
Now, if it was somebody I
Yeah,
know I had, if
that's okay.
it was
I
somebody I know
understand.
I had history with, who was talking, maybe never had sex, and they were confiding in me, telling me that. And again, I'm still gonna say I appreciate your transparency, but telling me something that happened to you 10 years ago doesn't make sense to me in that moment.
Okay,
But I
all right.
appreciate you telling me that, but it's gonna be a no for me because where's this? It's already gonna dry my pussy up. Once you tell me that, I'm on a mission. So I don't want to sit there and go through all that. Thank you, but I'm gonna
That's
move on.
that's a that's a longer conversation you got time for at the play party right there. Is that what you're saying? Okay, okay, I'll get that's fair.
10 years. I'm
We'll
just saying
allow
10
it.
years ago. Now he said
Yeah.
10 years ago. You don't want
All
this
right.
pussy, baby. I'm gonna move on.
Memphis brought in there 10 years ago.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't
I was
know.
just
Maybe it
being
was 10
funny,
weeks ago.
y'all. You know.
All right. So Memphis, we'll let Style Free finish after Kiki. Go ahead. Memphis, what do you think?
I won't have to say that's a no for me because I would have it would mess with you know what? It's people here already. You know what I mean? You don't really need me. You know what I mean? I appreciate I'm not mad that but I'm not mad. Like I'm glad that they shared with me. Like it's
Yeah.
all love. You know what
Uh-huh.
I mean?
Yeah.
But conscience wise, you know what I mean? Like I'm just that type of person. Like I'm gonna go home for the next week, and I'm gonna be pissing, looking at my dick, thinking like, "Oh, my dick hot right now." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just regular piss. So I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would just say no, just for the sake of my own sanity. You know what I
Y'all
mean?
mental peace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's nothing against the person. You know what I mean? But like, I was
Right.
like, oh, you know what? Just
Appreciate the transparency.
my boy
Okay.
right here, he with the shits. You know what I mean? Let me get a break.
Your homeboy with the shit. You go sit next door to your
Yeah,
homeboy.
yeah.
Okay,
But
okay.
mentally, like I wouldn't be well off. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
Style Free, what do you got to say?
Um, I
Be
I like to
honest.
use condoms. I mean, I like to not use condoms. I
Okay.
prefer to not use condoms. So if someone told me they had something, I would be hesitant because I don't want to catch it because I don't like using condoms a lot. You know what I
They
mean?
didn't say they
But
have.
I have met someone though, so I can
It's not.
understand the
It's not.
mindset because I met a guy who was what he called an adventurous, and he actually didn't mind being with people that had STDs or even HIV. Really, he was really looking for people with HIV, and he just he said he haven't caught it yet, but he just liked the Russian roulette. He liked to get in there and strap it up with people that have HIV. He was a homosexual guy, but he liked other homosexual guys that had HIV.
Hold on. I
It
need a
was a
minute.
Oh,
thrill.
he was too deep
I
in the
know.
trenches for me.
I know we taping this right now. I just need a minute. Just y'all go
Just
ahead
Jay,
talk.
close your mouth.
What
I
are you
need.
saying?
I need
It
a
was a real
minute.
thing. He
Hey,
liked the thrill of it. And
Baby,
when he was explaining
you
it to
must
me, I
make him.
understood where he was coming from, but I'm not that adventurous.
I almost want to have him on the show, and I'm scared, and I don't. I don't know. All right,
So would that be
I
because I
considered a
like
just
to.
have
I
kink?
like.
a plane.
I
I
like
don't
to know
know
what's
what's
going on in
up
the
there.
mindset of that person, because
But
that's
would that
wild.
be considered a kink? Would that be like
Oh, that's
a
definitely a
was that a
kink.
kink?
It's
Okay.
definitely a kink. Yeah, if we don't call it a kink, we had to put it in the American Journal of with something else. So yeah, no, we're gonna
Right.
call it a kink because I don't want, like Robert, I don't want to get sued. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a psychiatrist.
What are you saying? What? No.
All right, for Robert, you can answer, or if not, I'll give my answer. I was gonna give my answer anyway, but I want to leave you out.
Oh, sure. I mean, if it was something, I think like Kiki, I would wonder if it was 10 years ago, why are you telling me this? That would be my first thought. But if it was something curable, I wouldn't care. I understand what the treatments are and stuff like that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
would think it was odd. Like I've had gonorrhea, like I told however many people listen to this podcast just a little while ago. But I'm completely free of it
But at a
now.
play
I
party,
admit it.
Robert,
What's
remember the
that?
content, you're at a play party. So that's where
Yeah, I wouldn't even bring it up. So that would be weird, I think, to bring it up. But yeah, go ahead, Jay.
No. Okay. So it's a good answer. All these are good answers. I personally, at a play party, I would be a bit taken back. Okay. I would be a bit torn. Okay. Because on one hand, I would say, listen, this person yet is very transparent and apparently very health conscious because they're really keep putting this in the conversation, like they're upfront with it. You know what I mean? So
Thank you.
it would give the person some extra value to me because I would think I would see something in their character
aren't you
because whatever they
kind?
did, I'm just saying whatever they did years ago, that was a night or several nights or whatever, and it had a consequence, and
Right.
they addressed it and they got it fixed, and they're looking to say, hey, listen, I have experiences, I've had mistakes, I've gotten them corrected, I now have a clean bill of health that had this back whenever. Now, 10 years ago, it is a little odd too, but I'm not gonna knock them off, y'all, for the 10 years. They're thorough, and
Yeah, yeah.
honestly, 10 years ago versus 10 days ago, I'll take the 10 years, honestly, because 10 days, I don't think you threw your whole treatment. I don't know why you're here, ma'am.
At least let it sit for 3 days.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Give it
He
time
on
to
a
breathe.
mission.
Yeah.
So, so that's that part. Okay. But the other part I'm torn on, and I'm going to be completely honest about this part. I didn't know how much I'd share, but shoot, Robert's inspired me. So I'm gonna share more than I would have shared about this particular story because the person's in the community, or so I think. So years ago, when my wife and I first got into like exploring everything, we met this lady, nice bi lady, and she was breaking up with her boyfriend. They were still living together or whatever, but she was, trying to see other people, see other couples. She was experienced, so it was a great connection. She like kind of schooled us a little bit, and like 'cause we were like throupling or whatever. Anyway, so uh she calls me one day to come over. I go over there, and then she tells me she has to stop talking to us. She had a dream, and she felt like it was a sign, and she had to stop talking to us because she had to get her life together or whatever. So she said she was going to go straight, okay, and get back with her boyfriend. And she got back with her boyfriend, and we stopped talking, right? And so she reached out to us about a couple of years later. She and the boyfriend had broken up, right? Again. And and my producer's telling me don't tell the rest of the story. So
Ah,
in the background, like, don't do it, don't do it. So maybe
Uh,
I'll
just,
edit out the parts. I'll edit out the parts
get
and
his
make it
producer.
two on the nose. Yeah, my silent producer is like, don't do this. All right, so let me do it this way though. So we encountered a person, a whole different person, believe it or not, uh, who who had contracted an STI in the time between we known them at first and we met them again, right? And their hepatitis. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna-
oh my Lord.
oh, that's terrible. That's a HIPAA violation. That's terrible. Okay, all right, all right, all right.
Some names are spoken. You know what I mean? This
Yeah,
could be a random story. You know
we're
what I
gonna.
mean?
The door's already open now. You can trust us.
This could be
I'm
a
in. I'm
make
striking a lot
believe
of this.
story. Like
I
I
went into
have no
sweat until I
reason to
started telling this
believe it.
story. All right, so listen, let me do it this way. So we found out the person we had encountered with before had contracted something from a previous relationship in the time that we had been out of touch, and they asked us to help them get back acclimated into the lifestyle. And I'm like, and the thing that they had wasn't something you can just make go away. It's something you got to learn to live with. And I don't know about my wife. I can't speak for her. I felt some type of way, y'all. Like I was like, I was like, first I feel a little guilty. Just bring you along with me to the lifestyle party and not tell anybody. It just seems a little wrong. It's not my story to tell, but I know. You know what I mean? And I don't know. And then I also feel a little guilty, like vouching for you, like, hey, this is my friend. Da, 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 da. And in another moment of transparency, however people feel about her, I was concerned they'd feel about me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is your friend. Y'all kick it, whatever, right? So, you know what I'm saying? 6 degrees or whatever, you're a
You
little
got it.
too
You
hot.
got
You radio, right? I was afraid of becoming radioactive in a setting, if that makes any sense, just by the
But it's
affiliation.
understandable.
That makes
And
sense.
and yeah, but I said to say, I hope that person is no longer moving in lifestyle space. Although I ain't gonna lie, I did see them and they on again boyfriend with an LS page. That's neither here nor there.
Messy,
Yeah, I don't because I don't know
messy.
what they're telling. I don't know what they're telling people when they meet them. They might be disclosing these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yo.
What do you mean? That was messy. I try to do that very cleanly.
No, you was clean. I was
I
just
think you
telling.
did a great job.
Okay.
I was
But you
just
gonna say they
Okay.
telling
got a
you.
Thanks.
page
yeah,
and
you
not
did a
tell
good
us who the
job.
page
You
All
is?
right.
called me
I might
messy.
get
How you gonna
sued,
say
but
they
I
got?
tried.
But
Never
Jay,
want to
how you
be
gonna
in
say
the
they got a
messy
page and then not
category.
tell us who the page is?
I'm not doing that. That's just
I don't
dirty.
need to know the page.
No, they're not one of my friends, so you can't find them through me. Anyway, right,
Okay,
right,
well,
right.
I
Why do
cool.
you
asked
need
you
to
over a game of pool.
pay?
Well,
so
anyway, you
my
can
point,
tell me later.
so my point is, look. When we go to a party, whoever I point at and be like, "That's who." Just leave it at that. Just,
You hear one of these?
just right. I hit this motion. Just don't ask me no questions.
I'm gonna say, what's
Just
wrong with
turn and
your
walk
neck?
away.
What are you doing?
Just because I'm not trying to blow up nobody's spot. You know what I mean? And there's probably Style Freed's friend, the Hunter. He might be looking for that. He might be
What you
whatever.
call
Like
him?
maybe that's his.
Justin, you got a man a nickname already?
The
The
Hunter.
Hunter.
I don't. Was that not
That
his
is
name? Did I make
wild.
it up for him? He's like a Marvel
I
supervillain.
like
Uh,
it. That sound
Okay.
about right.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe I'll get a comic. He might do that next. Maybe it's next thing he chases is people with that particular whatever. I don't know. Something maybe there's people out there who that's not a thing. But what I am saying in the more serious tone is I think there's this issue of stigma and like the rub off of stigma that is impacting people and their testing and their transparency. And I think that is compounded by the fact that lifestyle people are messy. And I'm not just saying it's lifestyle people. They are only ones who are messy. I'm just saying somehow a lot of messy people seem to find their way here or something, or
Real
maybe it brings
talk.
out.
Real.
But with my point, because when people separate, then the things that they held in discretion between them become public knowledge and they become the fodder of chat rooms and of of subliminal text
mhm.
and posts on Facebook and stuff like that.
And
And
it's
and
so
so
unfortunate, childish.
it is. It's childish. It's unfortunate, and it also makes it less appealing for a person to be transparent.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think a person? How do you think you can move? How do you suggest a person in lifestyle or a promoter move in the space to make an adjustment for that? Is there an adjustment for that?
I I saw an adjustment that I saw people making. I think um people not I don't even know how to say this. I recently learned that people are STI, STD testing or whatever is not even a thing anymore because people now take this thing called PrEP, which is like I want to say it cures HIV or something, or
Like a super antidote or something.
it makes it undetectable. So I want to say people are not as concerned about STI results or whatever because they have an option out. if that makes sense. And so, because if like, all right, like I know guys, that's like heavy in the lifestyle, right? And they'll come in the chat and they'll say something like, "Oh, yo, I'm on prep now," and then they say, "Oh, I just got my nuts snipped." So, like in my mind, this man, no matter where he go, not only is he about to be busting nuts, but he ain't pulling, like he ain't strapping up
But
nowhere.
so if it's nut snips, I mean, he can't make kids. Right? That was what I mean if it's nuts and snips.
But prep means that you are.
Yeah.
It helps you prevent from getting HIV. But the thing is,
That's a raw way to say that you can't make kids. Your nut snipped.
yeah. So
Focus.
like, so yes, he got his nut snipped, so he didn't have to worry about making babies. So like, he doesn't have to wear condoms because he can nut everywhere. Like he could just walk in a room.
It's nut free. You get a nut. You get a nut. You get a nut.
Yeah.
You get a nut.
Just nut.
You don't have to worry about any type of disease because of the medication that he's taking.
I
So
got
they
it.
basically made a super antidote that's available to the public now.
I don't think that's what's happening. And before we go further in this information, Robert, can you clear this up? Any misconceptions that may have been spoken? Can you shed a little light? I know you're not a doctor, but you work in this field more, so maybe you can.
Sure. Sure. PrEP is taking an antiviral medication proactively, and there's a few different ways that you can take it. The most common is that people take a once daily pill, and it's 99% effective at preventing HIV. So it has been a godsend. One of the really cool things about it is that it's been given an A rating by something called the United States Preventative Services Task Force, which means that insurance has to cover 100% of it, not even a copay. And basically anybody can get it, man, woman, heterosexual, gay, whatever. Of course, if you're having unprotected anal sex, your risk of HIV is significantly higher than if you're having unprotected penis and vaginal sex. But
why is that?
I think the tissue is just different. So, for example, and this is straight from the Centers for Disease Control, the risk of transmission of HIV from unprotected penis and vaginal sex is between 4 in 10,000 and 8 in 10,000. Depends upon if you are the penis haver or the recipient. So it's very, honestly, quite low. So you could theoretically have sex with someone who has HIV hundreds or thousands of times, and it would still be more probable than not that you wouldn't contract it. But anal sex is significantly more risky when it comes to HIV. I suspect because the tissue is more fragile, it bleeds easier, that sort of thing. But my point is just that anybody can get on PrEP if you're concerned about HIV. PrEP does require quarterly STI testing, which is always going to include HIV testing. Now, you may be wondering, well, why would people have to get tested for HIV when they're on this magic pill that prevents HIV? It's because there's a lot of concern about this gift from God, which is really what PrEP has been. It's saved hundreds of thousands of lives already. It's basically eliminating the AIDS epidemic that a lot of us grew up in. I mean, I was born in 1980, and when I was taking sex education classes in the early 90s in middle school, it was Magic Johnson. It was, and back then, a lot of people, Magic Johnson was like the first guy I recall that didn't die in like 9 months from AIDS, right? Like, I mean, if you lived in the 80s, it was horrible. So it's just a gift from God. So anyway, the quarterly STI testing is because there's a lot of concern about if you already have HIV and you're taking this medication, then it might lead to a change in the virus where it's no longer susceptible to this medication. But anyway, that quarterly STI testing is also covered by your insurance. It's also not that comprehensive, but it is fairly good testing. And like I said, because of this ruling from the United States Preventative Services Task Force, all of this is covered under the Affordable Care Act. Your insurance company has to cover it. No questions asked, not even a copay.
Once they start taking it, they have to take it forever?
Whenever you stop taking it, then your risk for HIV goes back to what it was before. So this isn't an HIV treatment. It's an HIV preventative. So you can stop essentially whenever you want. Something else, which I think is probably more relevant for people who are in the lifestyle, or I shouldn't say more relevant, but relevant for everybody, is something called Doxy-PEP, which we offer at shamelesscare.com. And it's taking the antibiotic doxycycline. You take a single dose of it, 200 milligrams within 3 days of unprotected sex, including unprotected oral sex. And it pretty significantly lessens your likelihood of contracting gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis. For syphilis and chlamydia, which spreads very easily through oral sex, it lessens your likelihood of contracting it by about 90%. Obviously, if the person you just had sex with has it. If the person didn't have it, then your risk was zero to begin with, but you may not know that. And then for gonorrhea by about 50%. So it's been called the morning after pill for STIs, but I just want to make sure all the listeners know that that's for those bacteria STIs like gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis, and not for HIV. So for HIV, it's PrEP, which you take before sex. You have to take every single day. Doxy-PEP, you can take whenever. You can take it the day after a lifestyle party, that sort of thing. It's not going to protect you from HIV at all, but it does go a long way towards protecting you from, the type of STI that I had.
Oh, that's amazing. Things have really evolved. But it's not being talked about. I've never heard of it. So I wonder why it's not as mainstream. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this on social media or things of that nature. Why isn't it not made more open to the public? More marketed to the public, I wonder.
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, certainly in the gay community, I feel like almost everybody knows about PrEP. It's not really reached the heterosexual community as much. Our risk factors are often different. I know people in the lifestyle who only have penis and vaginal sex, and they always use a condom, and their doctor has still put them on PrEP, even though realistically they had almost no chance of HIV to begin with. I don't really see a downside to that. I'm not on it personally. It just doesn't make sense for me, but it is something that people should know about. And they don't have to worry about, like, no matter what kind of insurance you have, it's covered. And even if you don't have insurance, there's almost always programs available where you can get that for free. And I think that's really important for people to understand.
Okay.
Oh, awesome. Memphis, thank you for bringing that up. This some awesome information you guys have shared today.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've kept Robert for a while, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I do want to go around with one more question for everybody. And you can do your final thoughts after you answer the question. If you need me to restate the question, don't worry. I don't mind. I'll do it. Here's the question. Would you support health verification at lifestyle events, or is that too invasive? And as a asterisk question, Robert can probably answer this. Is that even feasible? All right. So, who wants to go? Let's go with Robert. He can tell me if my question is even feasible, okay, if that's even possible to do. But would you support health verification at events, or is that too invasive?
I think it would be feasible if a promoter of some sort did that in the same way that the porn industry does. So the porn industry not only mandates testing, but they also tell you exactly what that testing has to involve. Right. So like I said earlier, there's so much variety that if you just said you have to get tested and be negative, well, I mean, who the hell knows what they're going to be tested for? You would have no idea. But if you actually put in like, no, you got to be tested for these 10 things or whatever, then yeah, I could see how that could be feasible. I don't know that people would want to do it. It would obviously be expensive for people, et cetera. But I think it is feasible.
Do they have anything before I turn it over to
That's
everybody
so
else?
wild that they like.
Do they have
I think that's
anything
really wild that you don't know
that can do
for it.
that at the
Not
same time
across
frame? Like, is there? I'm sorry, Robert. Is there anything? Is there a test that you could take at the beginning of a play party that would let you know before the play started where everybody kind of stood? Like, is there anything that tests and responds that fast?
To a certain extent, yes, there is an FDA approved HIV test that's instantaneous. It actually takes 20 minutes. It's called an OraQuick. The FDA also just approved a instantaneous, I say instantaneous. What I mean by that is, it takes 15, 20 minutes, something like that.
Right.
Test for trichomonas, gonorrhea, and chlamydia. The problem with the gonorrhea and chlamydia and trichomonas one is that it's genital only. It's going to have the same problems we talked about earlier. You're just not going to let you know if they have an oral infection. But it is my hope that, in a few years, basically you'll be able to run down to Walgreens, buy a really comprehensive test kit, do it at home, find out in 20 minutes. I no longer have to sell STI tests at all. Everybody can just do that less expensively and better. We're not quite there yet, but the FDA is kind of continuously approving little steps in that direction. HIV, it's definitely possible right now. Gonorrhea, chlamydia, and trichomonas, it's available right now. The only difficulty is there's no throat swab testing with that, but I think we're moving in that direction, Jay.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any closing remarks that you want to give, Robert, before I pass the question on to the other panels?
No, I appreciate it, man. You gave us some great information, so learned a lot from you. So thank you.
All right. Memphis just stole your thunder, Robert. So Memphis, in answer to the question, what are you in favor of? Uh, are you in favor of testing at LS events, or do you think it's too intrusive?
Is this for me this time?
Yes, yes, it's okay. Nobody knows but us. It's all right. Well,
It's okay. It's
okay,
Don't
okay.
Memphis.
judge me, y'all. But I want to say, like, I want to jump on board, and I want to say, yes, like I'm full of support of testing. But realistically, like, even if I went to a play party and everybody had to have their results, I still wouldn't walk into that party saying like I believe in everybody because there's 5 of us here. I can get my test results today. Robert could have got his last week. You could have got yours last month. Style Free could have had his 2 days ago, but Style Free could have had an orgy last night. You know what I mean? And he up in here all the same with us with brand new test results. So I used to go to parties all the time when I lived in California, where the requirement was you have to have like testing.
We
And
just did.
I knew I used to give them my results from like a month ago. While I knew I wasn't outside like that, I also said to myself, they didn't verify how much sex I had since last month. Like, while I felt like I was good, I was like, these people could have been in an orgy last night where it was like bukkake, like everybody was
You
busting
show
nuts.
saying orgy a lot. Are you trying to manifest an orgy? You show saying orgy a lot.
You
I was
check
just talking about those days.
check his origin story. It was orgies all in
Okay.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Check
There was a
YouTube.
time that's all I knew. But what I'm saying,
Straight orgies. That's what he said.
what
He
I'm
said it
saying
was
is like during those times, if the requirement was to have results, and me being in the room, I'm looking around and I'm like, well, these are all highly sexual people, you know what I mean? And we are all sexually active. So I can't believe that you took these test results and kept it in your pants until this day. So I want to say yes, I'm in full support. Like I don't mind it, but I it would require a invasive follow-up question. Like you must have not fucked anything since you took these results. And now I'm being rude at this point. So I would prefer not even to engage in that type of combo. You know what I mean? And if we got to that point, because I'm not like a super play party type of guy, then while we sitting down chatting it up, I might just ask the question or it might come up in topic or something.
okay. All right. So I do want to hit on something you said, and that is the test is only good for the moment you took it. You know what I mean? So if you go out right after you take your test and you have sex with 50, 11 people, that test is no longer valid, although it says you're clean, or
Right.
you don't really know. So that's why I was asking Robert about the capacity for testing in an immediate setting, like getting it right away. You know what I mean? And being able to do it at the party to see if that might change a little bit. Um, so go ahead, Kiki. Would you be in favor of testing at a LS play party, or do you think it's too intrusive?
I'm in favor of testing because we actually experienced it at Kelly Dreamland. Did they vetting, and the promoters, I guess, supposedly were receiving the results when we went to there. But my thing was, what's to stop a person from forging test results? Everybody's so much scanning and shit that go on these days. That don't mean that even the test results they gave you. How do you know if those things are legit? If it's real, it could be fake.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
No, that's true. People are out here forging. They can forge reports. They were forging those COVID cards. So STI reports can't be too much to do. Just
And
saying.
some people do anything for some pussy.
Yes, or money for the people who are trying to get the pussy. Yes, that's right. Style free. You back? No. Okay. So you just gotta roll with the punches. Um, all right. So we're gonna thank Robert for his time. We've held on to him a while. We got another guest coming on, and we don't know how that's gonna go. So Robert, say we're gonna say thank you for your time, and I really want to have you on again sometime soon. Just
Yeah,
so much, you got so much
please.
knowledge. Yeah, and it's been a real vibe. So we'll definitely talk with your people about trying to make that happen. Is there anything else you want to let the people know about from Shameless before we say goodnight to you?
No, maybe we have ED medication. We have basically all the types of medication people could want, but I just want to thank all of you. I don't think I've smiled or laughed this much ever doing a podcast interview before. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That's good news.
Oh, it's been
Thanks.
a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to
Yeah,
have you.
man. Nice
All right.
meeting you, man.
Take care, everybody.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. We'll be in
I'm gonna
touch.
find you on social media, Robert.
Thank you.
All right. See you, Robert. Thanks. All right. All right. All right. So, and the beat goes on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Callie Indigo to our stage. Callie, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. So, what's good with you? How's your night going?
it's going okay
Okay. All
so
right
far.
then. So far, I see you. You came ready. You came ready to talk. That's what's up. That's what's up. So we the guy we just had on, his name was Robert Johnson. He's the owner of a company called shamelesscare.com. They are an online company, but you can use them to order like sex creams, Viagra for women. They also do like STI tests. They can call in your prescriptions. They can do all that kind of stuff. Really informative guy. So you just missed him, but it's all good. So just to catch you up in the conversation, we were talking about STIs and the lifestyle, and why it's like
Mm, mm, mm.
something people don't really talk about. They don't really, you know what I'm saying. If they get tested, they don't really talk about the test results. Do you have any experience with that? Any stories about dealing with people who you wanted to discuss their testing and they wouldn't? What are your thoughts on testing? Do you ask people their
Mm,
results?
I do ask, but then I'm a little different. I pretty much have had the same rotation of partners for years. So it's kind of just secondhand nature for us to be like, yeah, I just went, you got tested last week, everything's fine. So how's your day going? Like, that's our normal conversation. But nowadays, you go ask somebody, so when's the last time you got tested? You're gonna hear why. You got something?
Mm. Why do you think people's
Nine times
attitude?
out of ten,
Why do you think their attitudes are like that when
people.
you ask about testing?
I know from my experience with most men, they just feel like they don't need it. And my biggest thing is whether you're having sex with one person or 100 people, if you're using it, you got to get it checked out. Whether
Facts.
you have a penis or a vagina, you got to get it checked at some point. So why not make it regular?
Facts. Facts. I'm not trying to get all in your dynamic because we don't do our guests dirty like that. But I'm curious. You said that you've got the same partners for a while now, right? So
Mm-hmm.
do do you all, is that a closed kind of thing that you all have? Is it
No,
closed or okay? So how
not
does
at
it work?
all.
Everybody do their own thing.
Um,
They just be responsible with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Cause like I have actual relationships, and then I have people that I just sleep with no emotional connection. So like the people I have relationships with, they all have other partners. Hell, I met one of my partners at a party I was hosting. Actually, I won't pay nobody no attention. When you're hosting, you're focused. You got to keep things flowing. He had a girlfriend and a sub when I met him, and
Okay.
I became the last one of his partners. I've had another partner where I was the first one. Had a girlfriend where I was the only girl she was sleeping with, but she has other dudes she sleeps with. Like it just ranges on what's needed in those situations. Because some people, I'm a little out there mentally, so I can't be in an actual relationship with everybody. Like I'm good coochie, a little disturbed up there.
Okay. Well, you did. We don't all have the bandwidth for a whole lot of people up here, so I definitely understand
No.
that. So how would you describe your dynamic, your own personal? Because I hear you got a lot of dynamics going on, that you're interacting with, and you juggling it all. And hats off to you for that. But how would you describe your personal dynamic? Would you say you are poly? Would you say you're pan? Are you sapiosexual, demisexual? Do you not get into all that? Like, how do
You
you?
want the long version sentence,
Yeah,
basically.
go and give it
I
to me, girl.
am a literal, this is going to be a mouthful. I am a pan sapio solo poly
Okay, that ain't too
with a
bad.
little hint of sex slave in there. So it,
Okay.
it just depends.
Yeah, you a
Because with women, I'm
PSSP.
dominant as hell.
With women, you're dominant.
I am.
You know
I'm
what?
I dominate.
I get an impression.
I'm
Go ahead, Memphis.
I'm ignorant. Can you explain to me pansapio? I had to Google it.
Solo pan
Solo
sapio
poly.
solo poly. Is she a
I am a
PSSP?
pansexual,
Okay, start
which
there.
basically means I'm attracted to everybody regardless of their gender, preferences, race,
Okay.
color, age, background. None of that matters to me. It's the person, and I have to have a mental connection before I'm sexually attracted to people, which is where the sapio comes in. Because just meeting me the first time and being like, hey, you want to go get it in the back room? I'm be, no thanks. And I'm going to giddy on off. And you're going to be looking at me like, what the fuck? Especially when the next person walks up to me and asks the same question. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. And you don't see me for the next 8 hours. And you're like, that bitch just didn't like me. No, I just didn't know you. If I don't know you, I'm not going there. Unless you catch me on a good day where my other personality comes out, because that bitch don't give a fuck. It's not gonna happen. I'm very
Mm.
big on we gotta have a conversation. I need to know something about you. It don't have to be like tell me your biggest darkest secret, and I don't need to know where your grandma and them live, but I do need to know something.
So, all right,
When solo poly just means I can like a lot of people, but the idea of being like confined in a relationship freaks me the hell out. So I like my space, which means I also prefer for my partners to have other people because it's sometimes where I don't want to talk, I don't want to be touched, I'm focused on other crap, and I don't want you sitting there looking at me like, oh, I can't get a nut. Yes, you can. Go get one.
Oh,
mm, all right, then I heard that. That frees up your hands and your time and your space. So
just like that.
you were talking about
Yes.
conversations and being a sapiosexual and wanting to definitely know a person before you get involved with them sexually. And I completely understand that. I shout out to all the sapiosexuals out there. I get it. Um, so in this conversation that comes up, how would you feel about the person bringing up their sexual STI history in the conversation? Like maybe you're at a play party and they're like, "Hey, a few years ago, I had an STI. I got it cleared up and everything, but I had like gonorrhea 9 years ago. But it's all good." And they're getting to know you phrase. Is that a red flag? No flag? Green flag? Green light? What do you think?
It's a green flag for me. I prefer brutal honesty out of people, which is another reason why I'm a bit of a black sheep because I'm too honest for some people. If you're willing to just go there and tell me that shit, it's less likely I'm gonna doubt a lot of things you say versus if the next person comes to tell me because you burnt them, then I'm gonna be looking at you sideways, and that's never a good start to anything when I start looking sideways.
Mm. So why do you think it's like that in the lifestyle as far as like people being quiet about their test results? And do you think that single people are under more pressure to prove that they're cleaner than couples are?
Yeah, because most couples want to believe that just because they're together, that there's no way they have anything because they're together. But you still fucking people most of the time, because I can't say all the time, because some people don't share their wives. The wives are getting some too. What makes you think you can't have something the same way this person who's single as hell and going out there on the weekends to the same places you are? Y'all could all end up with the same dang thing. But most people, especially singles, aren't going to talk about it because singles are barely welcomed in most lifestyle spaces, whether they're males or females. Males have it worse because they got to pay more, and most females can disguise it by just walking in with whoever and playing up that flirting role. You will never know that people aren't really together. But usually, no, because I've gone to parties completely by myself, and I know a lot of people, and I still end up in the corner like, so who's single? Because
Hmm.
I'm not gonna do this awkwardness.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think that bulls and unicorns have more of a burden of proving that they're clean and safe than couples do? I mean, I think raises the point that in couples,
I think she
typically,
that was a very very valid point she raised, and being a unicorn myself, I would say yeah, exactly how she said. Most couples tend to believe that they're safer. This is my primary partner. And also they you simply know your partner's results. So like when my husband go get tested together, he already know my results. So I know you clean when we get tested together as opposed to a single coming in. And I also think that it's we kind of train that way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I definitely see what you're saying. Um,
I think the I think the idea of a couple just seems safer because you want to believe that them two people just go to work, sleep, go come home, eat dinner, sleep with each other, and repeat. And for a single person, you just assume that they go out find somebody new every night. And
Right.
so now you want to know, like, hey, what you been up to this week? Cause it's just us two. You know what I mean? So I think couples just naturally feel or seem safer
Yeah.
just because they come with a partner.
Right.
so, is there a built-in bias against people when they have more partners? In other words, when we find out a person is open to more partners or they are interacting with more partners, do we immediately go, "Ooh, this person feels less safe"? For instance, I'll put it out there. You're talking to two people at a party. One of them is two chicks. One chick is bi, from Memphis. The other chick is a pansexual. Okay, do you look at them both the same in terms of risk, or do you think there might be a slight bias or judge? And for Kiki, same for
That's
you.
a good question.
Yeah, it's a
I look
dude,
at
and
them
he's
the
fine,
same.
but the dude ain't even bi. It's
I,
a
I
straight dude, and it's a straight dude, and it's a
maybe
pansexual dude.
before maybe before I would look at them the same, but after the educational session with Robert, I would look at them different with the statistics behind ain't no sex and things of that nature. With the education I have now, I would look at a pansexual a little bit differently than a bisexual woman if the bisexual woman is not sleeping with homosexual. And I'm not judging. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying with the new education and how the statistics are now, only with the knowledge that I have now. I think different knowledges and awareness make you look at things differently.
I'm I'm looking at everybody the exact same. You know what I mean? Like I'm not assuming nobody has no more, no less, because no matter what your sexuality is, it doesn't change the fact that I don't know what you did before you walked in this door. You know what I mean? And so, like, I went. So look, I went somewhere one day, and like this dude was having an all day like fuck fest. Let me say that for his wife, right? So like on the clock, like guys were scheduled to come in throughout the day and like sleep with this woman. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't matter like what their sexuality or test results or nothing.
Or
Like
marital status.
nothing, none of that mattered. You know what I mean? Like, because if she would have came to the party, it would have just been another rotation in the day. And a huge thing, like a big thing that I hear a lot, that I've heard a lot, and you hear it from like maybe like women over 35 or something. They might say something like, you know what, I'm fixed. I can't have kids anymore. That's like a banner waving saying like you don't have to wear that condom. You know what I mean? Like the moment you hear that, that's like, well, shit. Uh, free range at that point. Like it's up to you to decide what you want to do right now. And so I just don't.
Why do you think that automatically mean Memphis? Why do you think that she mean automatically means when she says that? How do you know she wants to? She's saying it because you still need to use a condom, but just in case something how do you know that automatically means you can have unprotected sex if she tells you I can't have kids?
All right,
Well,
hold on. One second. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's pause. I'm out of the boot style free because his sound got an echo and I can't seem to mute him and he keep coming off and on. So Kiki, when you hear him, let him know. And then we're gonna pick back up from there because it's a thing. It's a real thing. All right. So well, if he can fix that when he gets back or whatever. Okay. Sorry. Um, Kiki's question to you, Memphis, was how? Yes.
I'm not.
How does that automatically?
I guess if I'm already grabbing a condom, if I'm already putting a condom on, if I'm already getting ready to do this,
Oh, okay, well in those circumstances, okay, I get it from okay. I get it
That's
from that.
different.
Okay, I need a little bit more content. To understand.
at the but
Okay,
still,
and I would agree. I would agree with you with that. I would think that too. Cause what would be the point of you saying that? Another one of those moments, like, why would you say that? I get you
It's,
now.
it's a mood killer.
Thanks for the clarity.
yeah.
Womp, 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 womp. I so all right. So for my part, I think I land where Memphis lands in that it honestly probably doesn't make any difference whether they're married,
Right.
whether they're straight, whether they're pan, whether they're whatever, because ultimately the only thing that really matters is whether or not this person has integrity. Because if they don't have any integrity, they could sell you anything they want to sell you and tell you whatever they want to tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whatever their
Nope.
test result is, it's only good for the 5 seconds they were taking the test because they might fuck somebody in the bathroom or the testing site. You know
You
what I
got to
mean?
and walk out.
So
You know
so
what I mean?
basically,
To celebrate
it's
a
a
clean
chance
slate.
regardless. I'm just saying.
Yes.
So basically, that way it's a chance regardless. Because if they might have fucked somebody 5 minutes before, it's just a chance you take. It's just a chance regardless. No escaping the chance. Is what you're saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. And Memphis, is your echo on or echo control thing on or something, man? Because we're getting an echo. I think it's from yours because it's only on when you on.
Is it me?
Yeah. Do you? I don't.
Can
Is it
y'all hear
you?
me?
I hear you now.
I don't think am I connected?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little. Yeah. You're connected. It's a little echo. And then we lost Callie. Well, her screen with her camera. She probably fixing it. That's cool. All right. It, so we're gonna. Oh, I think we can about wrap this up. Let's go to a nice close. We
Yeah.
get the close. Yeah, because the technical problems are just killing the. We're not gonna. I'm gonna have to do a whole lot of editing every time that somebody logged in, logged off, clocked out, and clocked back in. Is a whole other thing. But we'll talk about it after we finish this. So let's wrap this up with Callie's closing. Any closing remarks Callie might have, things she want to share, stuff that she's got going on. And then you guys can give your closing overall for the episode, how you felt about it, and then I'll talk about what we got coming up next, and then we'll sign off. Sound like a win?
Me personally,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Me personally, not much going on. I'm a workaholic now.
What do you do?
I'm always in my bag or in my bed. I organize houses. I do massages. If people's energies are good enough, I will do lock retwists. But I'm just a hand in a different cookie jar type of person. I like to move around, catch flights, not feelings. My biggest thing with anybody and everybody is stay safe, regardless of what you might be doing, what you might want to do. Just always think about the other outcomes that might come out of every situation. And another day keeps the crazy away.
All right, then. I feel that. All right. Ladies first. Kiki, go ahead.
Well, I got a question for Callie. So, like, since you in your bag, does that mean no longer lifestyle? Are you taking a
I didn't
break
say
right now
that.
from being in life? No, I'm asking. I'm
Yeah,
in your business.
yeah, it's okay to be in my business, but no, that's never gonna stop. I've been in the lifestyle since I was 12 years old, so for me, this
Oh
is a
wow.
life choice. It's not really like just something I dibble and dabble in. It's just me.
You say 12.
In reality, like most of my yeah, 12.
That's a
I've
whole
always
different
been
episode.
poly.
Okay.
Yeah, I started early, and I found out the older I got that most of my family is in the lifestyle in some way, shape, or form.
Mm,
So it's not even a surprise.
Cause
They
you
know who
got
I am, just like I know who they is. Hell,
you
half
got
my cousins have been to lifestyle parties, and I have walked in and been like, "Hey, cousin." Saw an
Oh,
aunt in there one day. Was like, "What are you doing, and who brought you?"
also
uh,
just in the DNA.
Yes, just natural. It's just natural. It's
uh,
more natural for me
Which
than
y'all got
monogamy.
how you, so you got introduced to the lifestyle at 12. I've never heard that before. I'm not judging. I'm not saying that's early.
Yeah, it is. But I'm also from California, so we move a lot earlier than most Texans do.
I can agree with you for sure. I can imagine.
uh,
It's a lot earlier.
Style free. Why don't you go ahead and give us your closing and then mute your mic?
Well, I was thinking everybody should stay safe. You know what I mean? I'm glad I got some information about these tests. You know what I mean? Now I can get away from the smell test and maybe do some real tests. You know what I mean? And I still hold strong to the smell test too, though. But you know, I'm glad I got my knowledge up on the testing information, and I hope everybody practice safe sex out there at the when they want to, and take the stuff that we learned about today when you don't want to, because I didn't even know they had like a day after pill, but for play parties from like gonorrhea and things like that. Like that's really good information. Like I feel like a lot of people should know more about that. And so yeah, I mean, we definitely need to find out. Maybe go to Shameless so we can pick that up, or I think that's a good thing to add to the repertoire.
For sure. All right,
Maybe they should have
Memphis.
those at the lifestyle parties.
For sure. Oh, you muted, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Come on off mute. Memphis, you
Y'all
muted.
said since y'all know about the products, do y'all plan on using y'all dicks raw more? Raw
No,
dicking more?
no, ma'am. We will
Uh,
not. Go ahead, Memphis.
Yeah, shout out to Robert Johnson for coming out and giving us that information. Shout out to Callie for the shameless information. Uh, Shout out to Style Free. Don't ever sleep on the smell test. All right, that was through generations passed on. You know what I mean? You, you know what I mean? Don't sleep on that one. But yeah, man, it was a cooler episode, y'all. So shout out to Kiki, always. And so, but yeah, that was all I had, man. I ain't really have
That's what's up. That's what's up. What's up? That generational wisdom of the smell test.
anything. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all jokes aside, tonight reminded me of something I learned the hard way, and that is secrets do not protect you; they just delay the fallout. So, we want freedom, but freedom without responsibility is chaos in a sexy outfit. And if you really love this lifestyle, you should test like it. You know what I mean? Talk like it, own it. Until next time, protect your pleasure, but never fake your truth. And we also want to give a shout out to Robert Johnson again from shamelesshealthcare.com. Want to thank the wonderful Callie Indigo for being with us tonight. And as always, our cast, our crew, Style Free, Zero Filter, Memphis the Bull, and Kiki living and loving out loud. Guys, stay tuned because coming up, we will have some exciting things coming up for you. Um, we are talking about our next topic. Our next confession topic is going to be sex parties versus brothels. Are we blurring the line between play and pay? So, in our next episode, we're going to be asking the bold question: when does an LS party stop being a lifestyle event and start feeling like a business transaction? Is intention the difference or is it discretion? So, let's talk blurred lines, boundaries, and how consent intersects with capitalism. And if you want to get a confession in, be sure to message us at confess at lsconfessions.live. We love those confessions. Who knows? We may even bring you on the show. Last but not least, upcoming, we have Wet Words and Wine, Uncorked and Unfiltered Part 2, happening July 26th at sunset on the Myrtle Beach here in South Carolina. So stay tuned, get your tickets, and we'll be see you guys in just a little while. Peace. And